Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome to you and to your beautiful family. You know, you'll have to sit through a whole lot of boring questions, and so we apologize for that. But the position that your father and your husband and your son have been nominated for is incredibly important to the functioning capitalism that we have in this country. And I think that it is critically important that we understand exactly how you intend to administer and participate in that job. I want to just make a couple quick points that relate to some projects that I've been involved in and that I've been working on, and that is how the SEC relates to small business. The vast majority of North Dakota business is small business. Many of our startups find challenges in getting startup capital, and we want to make sure that a bill that Senator Heller and myself were able to get passed last time would require the commission to appoint at least 10 individuals across the country to serve on a new small business capital formation advisory committee. I want your commitment that you'll make this one of your top priorities if you're confirmed. Say yes.
I appreciate the assistance. Capital for small business is very important.
Okay, and I want to make sure that when you're making these appointments and looking at this, that you find people with rural experience. And by rural, I don't mean a community of 500,000 people. That's not rural. I want you to take a look at, as we look at rural economic development, bringing out broadband, we're going to have more and more opportunities. We also are working on another bill with Senator Heller, Supporting American Innovators Act, which would lower or raise the number of investors who could participate from the 100 to 250. We received unanimous approval out of this committee a couple weeks ago or last week, and just want your commitment that you'll work with us to implement that if we're able to get it across the threshold here.
I'm very happy to work with you on anything in the area of small business and recognize your comment about rural being really rural, not quasi-rural.
Fake rural, yeah.
Yes.
Finally, I think I only have time for just one more issue that I want to raise. And I think that we can all agree that one of the great frustrations that the American people had after the collapse of 2008 is no one went to jail. No one seemed to be criminally responsible for what seemed like a criminal act. And most people would say, if I did that, I'd be in jail. If I did that, I'd be investigated criminally. And so I think we need to have a clear understanding. As you have said, there's zero room for bad actors. But I think we continue to see difficulties in prosecuting folks in the white-collar area. I want to ask just one simple question, and it's not simple, but it's really important. Do you believe that executives who act recklessly but not knowingly, and as a result cause significant harm to our financial system, should be held criminally liable for financial crimes?
Senator, let me say this. That's kind of a question for the courts and for the legislature.
We can legislate. I'm just wondering, what's your position on changing the mens rea standard for executives who, in fact, act recklessly, even though we might not be able to prove that they act knowingly?
If that is where the law is, I will vigorously enforce the law.
Well, you do understand that the SEC in the past has weighed in on this, and that has done a number of speeches and discussions about how do you interject a criminal deterrent. You know, those of us on this dais who have been prosecutors understand that one of the best areas for deterrence in America is white-collar crime. And I think way too often you can hide behind the knowing. You know, it's hard to prove someone actually knew, but it isn't hard to prove that someone actually should have known or acted recklessly moving forward. And I think we could apply that criminal standard. And we'd like you guys to be thought leaders on this.
I am happy to engage on that topic with my fellow commissioners. I also want to tell you I agree with you. I think that individual prosecution, particularly in the white-collar area, has a significant effect on behavior.
But the difficulty we have is achieving, you know, the level of criminal intent, and I think there's a way that we can rectify that by lowering the standard but still having the deterrent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.